Hello, Steve White, TrekBoy89 for SteveArts89. Well, I just saw an article on the Star Trek motion picture restoration on StarTrek.com. Now, it was an update of the other article they already printed, so I was hoping for some more pictures and some more images. There was only one new image, but there was a bit of information. I don't know if I missed it last time because I was too busy looking at the pictures to read the article properly. But I'm pretty sure I read all the text and it was just sort of commenting on the images and wasn't really a lot of information. But it says here, Star Trek the Motion Picture Restoration, in addition to the 15,000 edits required to complete the cut of the film, over 150 visual effects shots have been completed. Many of the additional shots have been digitally recombined with little to no loss in quality from the original negative of the elements of each shot. And then they show an image. They talk about that and as being one of the shots that was reassembled. Now, I was really excited about that when I first heard that, because when we first heard about this, well, the first director's edition, they created new effect shots and they just rescanned all the other footage and they didn't really do much. They tweaked a few of the effect shots, but they didn't really redo anything really, just a couple of shots. Like they added the reflection of the Enterprise and they took away the stand when the Enterprise is leaving the dock, little things like that. And then they created whole new effects, which some were really great and fit in, but some just stood out a mile away, like the Starfleet San Francisco Bay shots, which was just awful. But the rest looked really great. All the ones of the Enterprise in the space dock and inside Vija were really, really good, and they added elements and so forth. Now, what they were suggesting a while ago was just give us some money to digitize the effects and basically re-render the effects in the whole film in 1080 so we can release it on Blu-ray. That's really all they wanted. And they didn't get the money. You know, it didn't happen. We were pushing for it for years. But now Paramount Plus needs content. Now they're sort of willing to spend money. They said, okay, do an actual restoration. And I was hoping what they would do is not just rescan the film and redo those old effect shots, because obviously they weren't just going to re-render them. They're going to redo them and make them new again because improvements in effects and everything. But I thought, will they actually go back and fix up or retouch some of the older effects, since they have all the old film and all the elements? They could go do it like they did with the Next Generation restoration. And I was hoping for that, but there was no indication they were actually going to do that. They only really referred to the effects that were done for the director's edition or changing effects, not restoring everything. But here we have a statement of 150 visual effects that have been completed, which means they have redone elements of those effects on some level. They haven't just rescanned them, they've actually done something to recomposite or change them. So that is really exciting to think that all the old matte lines when the Enterprise is leaving the Earth, and you can actually see the matte lines, and the Klingon ships, even though they're on a black starfield, they still had the black lines. All those sort of things could be fixed. They may have gone through and just said, okay, there's a bad effect, there's a bad effect. And the problem with Star Trek the Motion Picture was they had no time to do the effects because of all the dramas with the original effects company being fired and having, I think, 250 days to complete like 250 effects or something crazy like that. I don't know what. I think they got it. I can't remember the numbers, but they just were working around the clock to get the effects finished. They didn't have much time to actually do the effects, so there are a few that were a little rough. And if they did show up as being rough, they didn't have the time to redo them. So there are a lot of effects that, even though the design was great, the model work was great, the photography was great, the compositing wasn't great. And I was really hoping that they would actually have the money and the time to redo those. And it looks like they have. And that is amazing and that is great. But there is a little bit of an issue because they also commented on the restoration. They said the final stage involved perfecting the colour and look of the film. The director's edition itself is the completion of the film with intended visual effects, fine editing to enrich and smooth the pacing, and a new powerful Atmos sound mix, all focused on the goal of melting away your reality to take on board the Enterprise as the crew faces unkind enemy heading for Earth. For the first time ever, the films received a scene-by-scene dynamic HDR colour grading that is visually satisfying, engaging, and fully pushes HDR to the next level of spectacle that is nothing short of stunning. Now, the issue with that, it sounds like they really care more about the HDR than they actually do about the film, and trying to push that product and use that to promote the product and to promote HDR TVs and stuff like that. And when you look at the one image they provided, it looks very different. It's the shot of the space office above Earth, and it's very different from the original version and the director's edition, which looked virtually the same. In those shots, the Earth's a nice pale soft sort of blue with some shading, and the office complex is a beige with a little bit of sort of blue-white lighting inside of it, a little bit of light blue reflection of the Earth on the surface, and then a section that's not been completed that is lit, and that had a kind of beigey, warm sort of colour to it. But now it's got a real yellow kind of tan tinge to it, and the overall colour is less, it's still beige, but it's got kind of like a yellow-green tint to it, and the lighting, which was a nice soft blue, is kind of green, and the reflection on the other side of the ship, of the office, is really a dark blue, and the planet itself, Earth, is really dark blue. It's a different shade of blue, so it looks drastically different, and I find it jarring, and it kind of clashes. The yellow clashes with this dark blue. It doesn't. The other colours, they blended perfectly. They look beautiful together. This looks, I'm not going to use any descriptive terms. It doesn't look good. I'm not impressed. So I've got some good news of, wow, they redid 150 effect shots and they've done a lot of edits. They're really making a lot of effort to make this film really work and not just be, you know, a new scan of the director's edition and the new effects redone. They're actually really working on making the film work better and do probably a lot of things that Robert Wise would have done if they'd had more budget. So that's all good. But I really don't like them pushing this HDR colour grading because I don't think it actually benefits the film. It doesn't make these shots look better, but supposedly that's what people want on their HDR 4K TVs, and that's what they're trying to sell, 4K TVs with HDR. So it looks like they're kind of sacrificing the film and its images and quality, you know, for the sake of selling some TVs. So I'm a bit disappointed there, but I guess, I mean, back in the original series, they were told to paint the sets bright colours because they were trying to sell colour TVs. And now a lot of people look at the original series with this bright colours and sort of pick on it. That was part of selling it, was that they had to do that. And part of, I guess, selling this is they're selling a 4K version for people with 4K TVs and now a HDR version for people with HDR TVs. So it looks like we're going to have, yeah, this is happening. So I'm excited about the old effect shots being recomposited and losing some of the flaws that came through the compositing issues with the rushing and not having time to redo anything, and all the editing that's being done to fix up elements that were neglected or weren't done properly because they were so rushed to get the film out in time. But it looks like the colour grading is going to be off. And there's also some issues I'm hearing about people without HDR TVs or HDR compatible computers or TV screens watching films that were done in HDR. Apparently there's issues with how they display and how the colours show and everything. So this is a concern. Now I don't know a lot about it. I'm just hearing about it now. But I did a little bit of reading, and it does look like this can be an issue. So whether this is going to be an issue with the film, whether it's going to be an issue with it on digital, whether it's going to be an issue of it on Blu-ray or whatever, but I don't like that image. It clashes. The yellow and the like baby blue clashes with what used to be a nice soft tan and a light blue. Yeah, so I'm a little bit worried. I'm just wondering how it's going to go. Like, they showed a shot of the Klingon ship inside, and they did look like there was a lot of contrast, a lot of darkness, a lot of bright red, and they're probably going to lose a lot of the middle tones and some of the detail, focusing on having a more striking image with like darker tones and brighter colours, which of course the new TVs can pick up a lot of layers and levels in between these colours and everything, but I just don't know, because this seems to be a problem with a lot of restoration work where you look at them and there is so much contrast, and you can see there's a bit with the new Blu-ray films, Star Trek films that they did in Blu-ray recently. There is a bit of contrast. The darks are very dark and the colours are a bit bright, and it doesn't work. The blue, I was looking at comparing the Blu-rays and the DVDs, especially Star Trek 5, and the DVDs look better. Like, the quality is not as good. You have pixelation and so forth, and the scans aren't as clean, but the colours and they just work better. So I'm a bit worried now about the colour. So I finally got news on the effects and the compositing, and I'm happy about that. But now we've got to worry about the colour. So it's like we may never have a copy of the motion picture we're happy with. The original wasn't finished. The director's cut isn't in high definition, and this one's in 4K. But I think the colour grading is going to be not good. I'm going to go. I don't know. Let me know what you guys know, what you've heard. I couldn't find anything else about it, just those images and those couple little comments, and that along with the pictures. But yeah, I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.